Good day. It's JJ MMA. Today, we are going to be breaking down the Baku, Azerbaijan card that just took place in Baku, Azerbaijan, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. And this was a surprisingly solid card with a lot of finishes on it. I'd say pretty good card, man. Definitely better than all the Apex cards that we've had this year. A lot of finishes on it, top to bottom. I did pretty good on picks this card. Of course, we got another main event pick wrong. That seems to be the trend this year of us getting main event picks wrong. I've gotten so many main event picks wrong. It's actually not even funny at this point. But yeah, we're going to start off with the first early prelim of the night. Abdullayev versus Nascimento. I don't really care about this one. I wasn't even out of my bed. I was still sleeping when this was happening. But Nascimento ended up getting beat by KO TKO. From my knowledge, it was like, I think it was like 1-1 or maybe 2-0 Nascimento in the first two rounds. And then round three, there was some excused cheating on the side of Abdullayev. Pretty sure Herb Dean was reffing this fight as well. So this is a 3 weeks in a row, a trend. And we're going to talk about Herb Dean's reffing later in the card as well with the co-main event. But Nascimento, he got finished in round three. Apparently a pretty controversial stoppage. I think there was some glove grab, something like that to my knowledge. And there was like very small ground and pound shots from the backside of Abdullayev. Abdullayev mixed in the grappling in round three. I knew about this guy's grappling, but I'm pretty sure Nascimento was tired by here. As you can see, both guys don't have great builds for welterweight. But I don't really care about this one. I didn't watch it. I didn't care to watch it back on stream as well. By the way, we had an absolutely historic stream. Thank you guys so much for the amount of support you showed on stream. We had 2.3 thousand views on stream, a peak of over 10 concurrent live viewers. A lot of likes on the stream as well, so thank you guys so much for that. Maybe these Middle Eastern cards is where it's at. We got an Abu Dhabi card coming up later in July, so we'll experiment with that. We'll see how this audience works out. Big things coming for the channel as well. No event this weekend. However, we've got a lot of videos coming for you guys. But yeah, we got this one wrong. We picked Nascimento. He didn't get it done. We move on to the next fight up the card. This one was a robbery. Bekzat Almakhan versus Gene Matsumuto. Bekzat Almakhan dropped him badly in round one with a good, I think it was a right hand, something down the middle. He dropped Matsumuto round one. And a judge on the scorecards actually gave, and I know it says, like more total strikes. I don't care. But round one of the judges gave Matsumuto round one somehow. I don't know how. I have no clue how. I think this was a robbery, dude. I think Almakhan did enough in round three to get it done. And the verdict scorecards, you need to implement the verdict scorecards for these judges, because I think that the verdict scorecards were right on this one. You know what I mean? I think that Almakhan did win this fight and he edged it out on the verdict scorecards, and I completely agree with that. I just think, like, if you're looking at the numbers, he did more in I just feel like if you're looking at the numbers, maybe it gives Matsumuto the edge, but I just feel like he did more in round three if you actually watch the fight. He landed the bigger shots, the more damaging shots. Matsumuto was missing a lot as well. As you can see, 32% output. Not much better than Almakhan's 35, but, he threw 82 strikes and only landed 26 of them. I just think that Almakhan landed the bigger shots, a meaningless takedown, small amount of control time, few pitter-patter strikes. Round two was a clear Matsumuto round. I'll give him that. Even though the numbers are closer, I do think that round two was pretty clear Matsumuto round. He was damaging Almakhan. But at the same time, man, round one was such a clear Almakhan round that it was crazy. I can't believe a judge gave Matsumuto the first round. I have no clue how this is a unanimous decision for Matsumuto. I have no clue, man. Just how good is Rob Font, folks? But I think that Almakhan definitely won this fight. It's like a call-in from Vegas, because a lot of people I knew were picking Almakhan, and Almakhan was the underdog here, slight underdog. I don't think Matsumuto won this fight personally. I watched most of the fight. I replayed it. I watched this back on stream because I wasn't up for this fight. I was still sleeping. I didn't know that this card started at like 9 a.m. But Almakhan ended up losing somehow to Gene Matsumuto. I think he won this, and I think he's really good. I still think he's really good. They've given him a lot of tough opponents. Matsumuto's a tough out as well, but I think he got this one done. There you go. We move on from the robbery. Daniil Donchenko versus Theodore Berggren. Nasty KO finish for Daniil Donchenko. I believe he caught him with a head kick. Yeah, I think it was a head kick, right? Yeah, Daniil Donchenko looked very much improved. Now he still needs to work on his defense a lot because Theodore Berggren, yeah, he's pretty solid and he's got decent offensive striking. He's got a good jab. He's crafty with the way that he, is able to time his opponents. And I knew that going into the fight as well, but I just felt like Daniil Donchenko was going to make major improvements, and he did. He did have a good round one. He clearly outstruck and definitely beat Theodore Berggren in the first round. However, he did have some redness and a little bit of blood on the side of his eye. I just think that, there's obviously some areas in Daniil Donchenko's game that he could tighten up, like his defense. He should be more defensively responsible, blocking more shots. And I know it's harder to block shots with 4-ounce gloves, but he should definitely not be getting hit and damaged as much with a guy like Theodore Berggren in front of him. Theodore Berggren is actually kind of crafty. I'll give him that. He looked better out there than I thought he was going to look against Donchenko. I thought Donchenko was just going to get it done immediately in round one, but he got it done pretty quickly into round two, actually. He hit him with a nice head kick, was able to find the shots. Theodore Berggren is not good defensively himself. He's just kind of like, he seems like he's there to be hit, but he got hit with a nasty head kick by Daniil Donchenko. The first head kick that Daniil Donchenko threw in that fight landed on Theodore Berggren's chin and dropped him, and then after that, Daniil Donchenko just pounding away on the fence. And Berggren was pretty much helpless from there. He just got dropped and put out by Daniil Donchenko. Nasty finish by Daniil Donchenko, man. Great finish by him. I would like to see how he fares in this welterweight division. And now you got 2 Ukrainian welterweight prospects. So Ukraine is making their way up on the MMA scene. You love to see it. Yeah, and a great performance by Daniil Donchenko here. I picked this one. Not a hard one to pick, but he got it done. We move on to the next fight up the card. I picked this one right, the crafty underdog pick. I knew Javier Reyes is not so good. He does not look good. He did not look good in his last fight against Douglas Silva de Andrade, and Ofli got it done by submission. I felt this submission pick calling to me, and I forgot what Ofli caught him with something that put him down. I think it was a straight left. Am I right? It might have been a straight left hand, something like that put down Javier Reyes. Javier Reyes got sat down. He looked really plotty on the feet. Like, Javier Reyes looked like an unk on the feet. He was just, like, kind of standing there. His guard was, like, uneven, his guard was like this, and he was, like, keeping it there. He looked really stiff with the striking. Just didn't look orthodox at all with the striking, whereas Ofli was able to move. Javier Reyes had a length advantage, and that's why he was kind of catching him with some jabs, but just a domination on the strike numbers. And not on the significant strike numbers, but on the strike numbers, as you see, 42-7. And, Ofli, he dropped him bad with something towards the end of the round. I think it was a straight left, something like that, something down the middle, some punch down the middle, dropped Javier Reyes badly, and then he was pounding away on the ground. It looked like the fight was about to get finished, but then Ofli locks up an arm triangle from half guard, traps the arm, really good submission, tight squeeze by Ofli, pause, but really good submission win and a really good sequence of the finish here from Ofli. We see a lot of these finishing sequences on this card where it's like somebody gets dropped and then it's progressing into jiu-jitsu and submissions. And Ofli got it done exactly in that way over Javier Reyes. We got this one right. Crafty underdog pick by me. You heard it here first. We did pretty good on picks this card, except for the main event, of course. You know what I mean? But we move on to the next fight up the card. Nursultan Ruziboev versus Andre Pulyaev. Nursultan Ruziboev gets it done with a nasty submission. I should have seen this one coming. I thought that he was going to best Pulyaev on the feet, outpoint him to a decision, something like that. But the moment that Pulyaev got to the ground, Pulyaev was doing a good job scrambling. He was doing a good job getting back up to his feet. He's a really tough guy to take down, really lanky, 6'4", does a good job stuffing the head, posting on his arms. There was a moment where Ruziboev had his legs and was dragging him across the cage, and Pulyaev just posted on his arms, was able to somehow get his legs back up, and he ended up defending the takedown and fighting the grip of Ruziboev. But eventually, Ruziboev ended up getting him down. Only one significant strike, by the way, in this fight from Ruziboev. That's all he needed. But yeah, I mean, I guess there was... Dude, I feel like he landed shots in the feet. I feel like he landed leg kicks or something. Because I watched back this fight. This was the last fight that I couldn't watch live. But I watched back this fight on stream, and it looked like Ruziboev landed some leg kicks. But that's interesting. But Once this fight got to the ground, Ruziboev puts the hooks in on Andre Pulyaev. Pulyaev does a good job fighting the hands for a second, but then it looked like his neck was in like this neck crank position, but it ended up actually being a blood choke on the arteries. Pulyaev, he didn't tap. Pulyaev didn't tap. He went to sleep. He was out cold. And yeah, his eyes went, and I think it was a late stoppage by whoever the ref it was. Should have probably noticed that Pulyaev was out before that, but it looked like a neck crank, honestly. I thought this was going to be like a neck crank. His head was to the side like that, but it ended up being a blood choke on the arteries, and Ruziboev gets it done with a great submission win, gets the hooks in, immediate rear naked choke submission win for Ruziboev. Ruziboev looks good, man. His only loss in the UFC is Joaquin Buckley. Keep giving him some good tests outside the rankings. Maybe give him Marvin Vettori, Mr. Unfinishable himself, and see how he does against Marvin Vettori, something like that. We've got a lot of good prospects outside of the rankings in the middleweight division. Like I've been saying, you could do Cam Ralston versus Marvin Vettori, but there's, a lot of other good prospects that you can give to the more crafty, the veteran middleweight contenders right outside the rankings that were recently ranked. There's like Roman Dolidze is just kind of like hanging in there in the rankings, in the media rankings. You could give him Yusri Belgarui, or you could give him Shari Magomedov, anyone like that. I don't think Shari Magomedov is ready for that. Maybe give him one more guy outside the rankings. But Ruziboev gets it done. Really nice submission win for him. He's an elite contender in the middleweight division, in my opinion. We move on to the next fight up the card. Now I was going crazy on stream after this, because the moment that this fight started, Abdullayev Yakhyaev, he's measured at distance for a second, and then he just fires a right hand immediately. Straight right hand down the middle on the chin of Julius Walker, kind of over Julius Walker as he was starting to throw a jab. He drops his guard for a second to throw a jab. And I thought Julius Walker was kind of crafty. Like I thought that Julius Walker may be a little bit of a tough out for Abdullayev Yakhyaev, but he makes absolutely easy work of him. Just the right hand that sits him down, and then ground and pound from the top. Just a little bit of it is all you need. All you needed was 6 significant strikes in this fight to get it done. 8-second KO, the second fastest in light heavyweight history. I forget who was the fastest. I don't remember. Obviously, the fastest KO in UFC history is the 4-second KO, or I think it's 5 seconds. Jorge Masvidal over Ben Askren, but absolutely nasty finish here for Abdullayev Yakhyaev. I think that this is the first one that we have pictures. Oh no, that was the Ruziboev one. We have some pictures for the Ruziboev win. Yeah, there you go. But for this Abdullayev Yakhyaev win, we have him. There's Julius Walker getting up, and then Abdullayev Yakhyaev. Dude, he's good, man. He's 10-0. I'd say he's beat better contenders in the light heavyweight division than Iwo Baranowski has. Nasty finisher. I think he's finished all 10 of his fights. Yeah, he's finished all 10 of his fights. He gets this KO win here. I felt like he was going to get it done by KO, and he did. He got this one done by KO. Nasty finish by Abdullayev Yakhyaev. Yeah, there's not much more to talk about with this one. Besides that, Yakhyaev's legit. He's good. We move on to the next fight up the card, the featured prelim. Farman Hasanov versus Eric Nolan. Hasanov, I feel like once he gets tested, once this guy gets tested with a real striker, somebody who can defend takedowns, dude, he's going to get chinned, man. Eric Nolan. Eric Bloody Nolan, mate. He was, and I know he's from the U.S., but I was thinking about Tom Nolan. Eric Nolan was, like, giving him a run for his money on the feet. And he shouldn't have been doing that. Like, I know Bison Sakraev actually had, like, some tough times with Eric Nolan's jab, so maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but Farman Hasanov takes him down, dominates him on the ground. For some reason, he never put hooks in when he was on Eric Nolan's back. He was never looking for submissions. He was just, selective ground and pound from the top. Really dominant with his grappling. Kept dragging down Eric Nolan. Good performance overall from Farman Hasanov. However, when he was on the feet, yes, he was landing his overhand. Yes, he was landing his jab on Eric Nolan. Yes, he had cut Eric Nolan. On the feet, actually. Only 21 significant strikes, by the way. I'll highlight this right here. Only 21 significant strikes in the fight from Farman Hasanov with all that control time. I don't like that. He should have a higher output. However, he was really dominant with the grappling, great scrambles. There was a lot of times where he was chain wrestling Eric Nolan against the fence, had a body lock. Eric Nolan post wide, switches from a double leg to a single, high crotch, slams him a lot, picked him up, fireman's carries. So Hasanov did a great job in this fight of just dogging out Eric Nolan's attacks on the feet when they were there. and just taking him down constantly, just, Marab maxing and like takedown logging him in this fight. 0 takedowns attempted from Eric Nolan. Eric Nolan was scrambling a little bit, but Hasanov was just on him like glue, just sticking on him. I'd say he's a good contender in the welterweight division for a second. Azerbaijani guy, he won this one. Azerbaijan, I think like the contenders from Azerbaijan were like 3-1 on this card, something like that. So, good for them. For the small country that Azerbaijan is, they got some guys coming up. They got some guys coming off wins on this card. Good for them. But, I don't think that Hasanov is going to be very good once he meets a guy who can really strike with him and put him out, because he was getting caught with jabs. He was super tired. All that wrestling in round 1, I think he broke the welterweight record for takedowns in a round or something like that. He took down Eric Nolan 9 times in the first round. But after that, like once they were standing up after Eric Nolan defended some takedowns in round 2 and they broke the clinch, he was super tired, labored in his movements, and Eric Nolan started jabbing him up a little bit on the feet, and he was like not stumbling because he was hurt, but just stumbling because of how tired he was. So in that case, he could run into some problems higher up in the division. But for now, good win. There you go. We move on to the main card. Abus Magomedov versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I predict these things, man. I predicted that Abus Magomedov would get the submission win. It says that he was a big favorite, but I saw some things where he was like, apparently there was a big odds switch and he was an underdog. But dude, he got it done in this fight. He did a great job. He did a great job in this fight. He was jabbing him at distance, low kicks, using his long range weapons well. And then all of a sudden, not in the clinch, but like he gets in close. He's a lot longer than Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. So not even in the clinch, just like kind of in close range with Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. He lands a nasty elbow. Here we have pictures for it. He lands this nasty elbow. Here's a head kick earlier in the fight. He lands head kicks. He was landing good shots at range, but he lands this nasty elbow right there. I'm not going to get copyrighted, but you could probably see it. He lands that nasty elbow that ended up dropping Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. And then right after that, he gets to trying to finish him with some boxing, and then he just lands this nice overhand that sits down Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, and then he gets in like this north-south position, locks up a guillotine from there, gets it mounted, and then he just like kind of traps him in this north-south guillotine position and chokes him out from there. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk taps, and then the ref is late to it, and Mikhail Oleksiejczuk ends up going out. There's blood all over his mouth guard. Absolutely nasty finish here by Abus Magomedov, and I saw it coming. I didn't see him dropping Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, to be honest, but I saw him submitting him here, and that's exactly what he did. Nasty submission win, great guillotine win here from Abus Magomedov, man. Just how good is Sean Strickland? Dude, Strickland and Officer Piper, their wins are aging better over Abus Magomedov, and a great win by him here. I felt like Mikhail Oleksiejczuk's win streak, his 3-fight win streak, was a little bit, like kind of fraudy, because he barely beat Marc-Andre Barrial in a scrap. He beat GM3, and before that, Cedricus Damas. So it's like, I kind of felt like that this would be the end of Mikhail Oleksiejczuk's win streak, because Abus Magomedov is a legit guy in the middleweight division. That's just what I thought. And after the fight, Abus Magomedov called out Adesanya on the mics. Dude, buddy, you're not getting that. You're not getting an Adesanya fight after losing to Officer Joe Piper, kid. You know what I mean? And he's not even ranked. I feel like the fight to make for Adesanya, you know what? Hey, we're gonna save that for later. We got a fights to make video coming up. So there you go. We move on. We got this one right, even the method to win. We move on to the next fight up the card. Ikram Aliskerov, aka Timu Islam Makhachev from Wish, whatever you want to say, versus Bruno Ferreira. I'd say this was a domination from Ikram Aliskerov. Clear 30-27. I just feel like in round 1 or round 2, he could have finished Bruno Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira was overextending like a lot with his strikes, and he was very much so open on the feet. He was trying to throw up some arm bars on the ground. Bruno Ferreira actually does have a pretty decent submission game. He was trying to throw up some arm bars, some different types of chokes on the ground. Round 1, I'd say it was like mostly, for the most part, a striking masterclass here from Ikram Aliskerov, just absolutely dominating him in the striking. Landing 1-2s at will, throwing some jump knees that barely landed on the guard. But regardless, they looked like they were landing in the judge's eyes. just outclassed him, outstruck him in round 1, took him down, held him down for a little bit at the end of the round. Round 2 was more of the same, except more holding down. You know, that's kind of what we come to expect with these Dagestani guys, especially a guy who looks like his counterpart, Islam Makhachev. He is the definition of a Timu Islam Makhachev, who takes more risks on the feet and is a little bit less defensively sound with the striking. You know, if a guy, I feel like if a guy who's, dude, like he gets put out by uppercuts. Like he got put out on the regional scene by Khamzat Chimaev with an uppercut. Same thing with Robert Whitaker. It's just like guys that can really find the mark and have like sick boxing that are for real. Not like Bruno Ferreira who just wings overhands at range. I feel like they'll be able to find Ikram Aliskarov's chin. But in round 2, Ikram Aliskerov was able to take down Bruno Ferreira and just lay on him for a little bit. Significant strikes on the feet as well. You know, he was able to land 1-2s at will, landing his jab a lot on Bruno Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira's defensive, like his defensive responsibility is not very good. He puts up his high guard, but at the same time, he kind of opens it to the point where a 4-ounce glove can definitely get through the high guard. Round 3, it was just laying down, honestly. You know, round 3 was just Ikram Aliskerov at the start of the round, landed some significant strikes. Then he takes him down the rest of the round. Bruno Ferreira's McFallen and can't get up. And yeah, he's just a whale on his back for the rest of the round. Not enough gas in the tank to throw up any submissions. We have some pictures here. Oh, that's Esu Almabayev. We'll talk about it in a second. We have some pictures here from the fight. Bruno Ferreira was really uncomfortable in like this inverted body triangle position, rolled over to mount, was really uncomfortable there, wincing on the face. We can't show that, I'll get copyrighted. Here's him, I think, after the win, you know, after the fight was over, he knew he'd won. Jump knee there, I can't show that, guys. Yeah, good performance from Ikram Aliskerov. He probably deserves to be ranked. Yeah, there you go. We move on to the next fight up the card. Asu Almabayev versus Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson looked like a few times in this fight he was going to enter the fluke state, but he didn't. He was looking like it in round 2, honestly. Round 1 was like Asu Almabayev was finding the clip on Charles Johnson. He was landing a lot of strikes, not a lot. He landed 8 out of 17 significant strikes on the feet, but he was finding the button on Charles Johnson a little bit. Like, he was able to land some overhands. He was jabbing. Really wide stance here from Asu Almabayev. Not very light on the feet, light on his front foot, like almost in a Muay Thai stance. But he's not going to Muay Thai mog Charles Johnson, who's literally has a 5-inch height and reach advantage over Asu Almabayev. But regardless, Asu Almabayev was landing some overhands on Charles Johnson, despite the reach discrepancy and the height discrepancy. He was able to land some shots on Charles Johnson. Now, in round 2, and also he was like taken down at will. Charles Johnson was doing a good job getting to his guard, being longer, getting the butterfly guard in, trying to build his way back up to his feet. But Asu Almabayev just kept taking him down. Round 2, it was more of the same, pretty much. I know it says 15-14 on significant strikes, but that was mainly because Charles Johnson just had like one little moment where it looked like he could have entered fluke state. He was starting to land shots on Asu Almabayev's guard. Pretty much all of them looked like they were blocked. Like, none of them really had an effect on Asu Almabayev. He was kind of just walking through them, you know, getting back, circling out of range. Charles Johnson was starting to pick it up a little bit, and I was like, oh, looks like we might enter fluke state. You know, Asu Almabayev's up on the scorecards. Looks like we might enter fluke state with Charles Johnson here. Another flyweight in fluke state from last week's Manel Cop win. Still sad about that, bro. Gucci Gang did not get that one done. Round 2 was a pretty close round regardless, though. I think Asu Almabayev did enough with the takedowns, with the little pitter-patter strikes on the ground. Damaged Charles Johnson a bit more. Round 3 was basically just Asu Almabayev landing a few shots on the feet, and then after that takes him down, and then, you know, puts him in the body triangle. Then after that, you know, Asu Almabayev turns him and submits him with, I think it's a Suevo stretch. Wait, what is it? Suevo stretch? Some type of stretch submission, Slavo stretch, something like that. But he gets it done. Shavkat Rakhmonov in the building. Hopefully he gets to come back sometime soon. But yeah, the Kazakhstani guy gets it done. Sumo Suevlo, I don't know how you say it, but a stretch submission. Puts what's his name, Charles Johnson, in like some type of banana split position where he's having his hamstring stretched by what's called Asu Almabayev. And yeah, it was a position where he had to tap. It was like hard for him to tap because of how badly he was stretched. His hamstring was like right by his head. And yeah, you know, Asu Almabayev gets it done with a nasty stretch submission on Charles Johnson's hamstring. It was there, and he submitted him with it. Great performance here by Almabayev. Chain wrestling in the way that, like chain jiu-jitsu. He was just like switching on to different submissions. He was flowing in that way, looking for guillotines that he wasn't really able to get because Charles Johnson's a lankier guy, harder to get guillotines on him. Almabayev's smaller for the flyweight division even. But yeah, regardless, a really crafty submission here by Almabayev. Grappling masterclass. We move on to the featured fight of the main card. Nazim Sadykhov versus Mateusz Camilo. Now, I see a lot of people saying that this was an early stoppage, and I completely disagree with that because, dude, Nazim Sadykhov went 0 for 16. Dude, you know those memes that's like, I was told I don't have to carry a weapon. That's exactly what Nazim Sadykhov was like in this fight. I was told I don't have to carry a weapon. 0 for 16 on strikes, literally airballing everything. Every time he threw a low kick, Mateusz Camilo just moved out of range. This is a sad, dude, this is like, Nazim Sadykhov's going off sad, bro. He's becoming chinny. He's just been chinned by Fiziev, now been chinned by Mateusz Camilo, who should not have beaten, man. I like a dude, like skill for skill, Nazim Sadykhov should definitely be beating Mateusz Camilo, but Mateusz Camilo is able, and he's a Gabe Green victim, I think. Yeah, I think Mateusz Camilo was submitted by Gabe Green, who is like, I don't even know who, he's a victim of somebody who's not a good fighter, I forget. But Mateusz Camilo was able to get this one done by simply just landing a right hand over Nazim Sadykhov's jab. And that put Nazim Sadykhov down badly. We have some pictures of it. All these guys saying worst stoppage of the night in here. What the hell was the ref thinking? Dude, this was the position that Nazim Sadykhov was in. You have to stop it at this point. He was curling up in a ball, and for a good reason, because Mateusz Camilo just landed a nasty shot on the button of Nazim Sadykhov that put him down badly. That's just a picture of him in the fight. And celebrating on top of the cage. But this is the position that Nazim Sadykhov was put in with the ground and pound from Mateusz Camilo. Just had to curl up. He was dropped badly. Just nasty finish by Mateusz Camilo. He got it done. And it was definitely a good stoppage. We got some person saying it right here. Dropped bad, then covered up. What do y'all expect? That's right. You know, we got one coherent person in here saying that he was dropped bad and then covered up. That's right. You know, he got absolutely folded backwards by the right hand of Mateusz Camilo on the feet. And it was a nasty shot right on the button. Perfectly placed shot from Mateusz Camilo on Nazim Sadykhov's chin. And he got it done. Ground and pound to follow it up. Just had Nazim Sadykhov covering up. He was laid on the side. He was just laid on the side like he was going to bed. And that's the way that you put someone out. Great shot by Mateusz Camilo right over the jab of Nazim Sadykhov. We move on to the co-main event. Shara Bullet Magomedov versus Michel Pereira. Dude, Michel Pereira sucks, man. And I thought Shara could have put him out, and I do think that he could have. I think that towards the end of round 3, if Shara had pressed more and made it a scrappier fight and tried to look for the button on Michel Pereira or just keep hammering him to the body, I think that Shara Magomedov could have got this fight done with a finish, but he didn't, and that's okay because he put on a great performance. But what we have to talk about to start this off is round 1. A lot of people were saying 10-8 round 1. I don't agree with that. I definitely don't agree. Shara Magomedov got his way back into the fight at the end of the round, landing some low kicks, reversing Michel Pereira's position on the ground. Michel Pereira didn't do much with ground and pound, landed a few elbows, but after that, Shara Magomedov just recovered and reversed his position on the ground. But to start off the round, dude, Shara Magomedov got dropped badly with a right hand down the middle from Michel Pereira. We never seen him drop that badly. I don't even think MVP dropped him. No, I don't think MVP did. I think MVP just won that fight by just outpointing him. But per usual, fucking hate MVP. But Shara Magomedov gets dropped badly by a right hand, right on the button from Michel Pereira, right through the beard in round 1. And Michel Pereira gets on top, tries to land some ground and pound. I thought it was going to be over because Michel Pereira had the guard stacked. And then he was just landing shots from the top. He restacks the guard, and then Shara Magomedov starts to land these little up kicks, heels to the face of Michel Pereira. Michel Pereira was just eating them, looking at them like a caveman going, huh? And just looking at the up kicks, hitting his face. And yeah, you know, he was getting it done in round 1. It was going to be a 10-8 round up until the moment that Shara Magomedov reversed position, stood up, started landing low kicks at the end of the round. Michel Pereira ends the round on his back, so it's not a 10-8, therefore. Round 2, Michel Pereira just takes the round off, man. He was just circling, letting Magomedov outpoint him. Magomedov landing side kicks to the body. There was a moment where they scrapped for a second, and Michel Pereira might have outlanded him in that single moment. But Magomedov was just keeping it clean. That's how he wins fights. If the guy's going to like rush in for a second, then he'll catch him. But Michel Pereira was never really rushing in. He was just the reason that Magomedov didn't knock him out in round 2 or even in round 1 is because Michel Pereira is not the type of guy to just rush in. He's a seasoned vet. Say what you will about him. Michel Pereira is not a bad fighter. He's not bad in terms of like the other guys that you have at middleweight, but he's like just like a mid fighter, a journeyman. He's been ranked recently until getting beaten by Anthony Hernandez, finished in round 5. But Magomedov in round 2 just basically outpointed him on the front foot, just moving forward against Michel Pereira, hitting him with side kicks. And then round 3 starts. It was more of the same pretty much. Michel Pereira tries to shoot for 2 takedowns. Magomedov tries to time in midair with a jump knee, and Michel Pereira takes him down for a second, but Magomedov sprawls it. So a weird Looney Tunes sequence there. And Magomedov just sprawled both of Michel Pereira's takedown attempts. Magomedov, not a great grappler himself, but he does know how to sprawl takedowns. He does know how to dig underhooks. And he just outpointed him for the rest of this fight until the last few seconds. He hurt Michel Pereira in the clinch with the knee to the body, and then he body kicks him off the break as he's circling, and he kind of drops him with a side kick, not a side kick, with a lead roundhouse kick to the body. And then after that, Michel Pereira just kind of running away, circling away. No urgency to win, probably knowing that he has to get a knockout if he wants to ever win this fight. He's just circling away, scared of Magomedov. Magomedov points to the center, says, "Let's throw." And he had the perfect moment to like sting Michel Pereira with the right hand because Pereira wasn't moving out of range at all. And he didn't take that opportunity, man. He just wanted to end the fight by decision. And yeah, that's how it went. Magomedov just outpoints him, wins the fight pretty cleanly, overcame the adversity that he faced in round 1, getting dropped with a big shot. Adversity is a privilege, mate. And, Magomedov was able to capitalize on this opportunity, wins the co-main event in Azerbaijan. I don't think he's ready for a ranked opponent yet. They're definitely, if Michel Pereira's dropping you round 1, I think that there's definitely guys in the middleweight division that can give him problems. I think Teba Gautier actually absolutely destroys him, in my opinion, because I think that Teba Gautier's, I don't see Magomedov just floating on the back foot and countering Teba Gautier. Like, seeing how this fight goes, I think that Teba Gautier just absolutely smokes this guy if they make that fight ever. But anyways, we move on to the main event up the card. I got this one wrong, of course. Rafael Fiziev versus Manuel Torres. Manuel Torres was sticking him with jabs, man. He was looking mean in round 1. And I still think that Rafael Fiziev won round 1, don't get me wrong. But the numbers say otherwise. Very close round, by the way. Could have went either way. I do think that Rafael Fiziev probably won round 1, just based off of leg kicks hurting him that way, taking him down. 2 really good takedowns timed by Rafael Fiziev in this fight. And Manuel Torres was able to stuff the takedowns of great grapplers like Grant Dawson, seasoned vets. Manuel Torres looked like a real tough test for Rafael Fiziev and was stinging him with power jabs. Towards the end of round 1, hit him with a nasty jab on Rafael Fiziev's chin that actually seemed to sting him. Like, you could see in Rafael Fiziev's eyes, like, oh shit, this really hit me. But then to open round 2, he even said this in the post-fight interview. He's like, oh, round 1, I felt like I could have been finished, so I was just like, round 2, I'm going to throw whatever. And immediately what comes to him is a spinning back kick. And he throws a spinning back kick like to open round 2, basically. And he drops Manuel Torres with it. Here, I'll show you guys what landed. Bang, the spinning back kick right here landed partially on Manuel Torres. Manuel Torres tried to block it with his glove. But that wasn't enough. It didn't take off the impact. His glove slams into his chin here with the impact of the spinning back kick from Rafael Fiziev. And he ends up dropping him with it. And then against the cage, Manuel Torres was looking for, I can't show that. Manuel Torres was looking for the ground and pound shots, or against the cage, because Manuel Torres popped right back up against that. Before this ended up happening, big right hook against the cage sits down Manuel Torres badly. Rafael Fiziev jumps on him with the ground and pound, and a nasty finish here from Rafael Fiziev. He's emotional after the fight, and he gets it done in his hometown. Massive cheers and lots of noise in UFC Baku in Azerbaijan. Just an absolutely great finish here from Rafael Fiziev. You love to see it. I still think that he should probably move down to featherweight after this, because if you're knocking out Manuel Torres at lightweight, I think you do some featherweights pretty bad, not gonna lie. And especially, like, we see Rafael Fiziev, yes, he has pop at lightweight, but he doesn't really have that power to, like, KO everyone. Yes, he KO'd Manuel Torres, but Manuel Torres doesn't have the greatest chin. We've seen him get dropped twice with pull counters by Ignacio Bahamondes. But, Manuel Torres, he's definitely a good fighter, definitely ranked material, I think. Just give him a step down after this, give him a fight to build himself back up. Great win by Rafael Fiziev, though. I just still think that he should move down to featherweight. Nasty spinning back kick to finish off this fight, by the way. That needs to be mentioned. And against the cage, he started scrapping with Manuel Torres. Absolutely no fear after being stung badly by a jab at the end of round 1. And yeah, just a warrior spirit here from Rafael Fiziev. He wins this one at home in Azerbaijan. A huge win for Rafael Fiziev. That needs to be mentioned as well. Absolutely huge for Rafael Fiziev to get this one done in the main event with his home crowd in Azerbaijan. Yeah, man, and Rafael Fiziev, I think what's next for him is you could either give him, if he stays at lightweight, you could give him Benoit Saint-Denis coming off a loss to Paddy Pimblett, or Paddy Pimblett if he loses to BSD. So the loser of Paddy Pimblett and BSD should probably fight Rafael Fiziev next if he wants to stay at lightweight. But at lightweight, he's already fought Moicano. He's beat Moicano. He hasn't fought Dan Hooker. I guess you could put him against Dan Hooker, but I think that they're probably going to do Dan Hooker versus, you know what? I don't even know who they're going to put Dan Hooker against. I guess you could do like Dan Hooker versus Hoofy, but Hoofy probably deserves to fight up. But then Hoofy's also lost to BSD just a year ago, so you can't really run that one back. But we'll talk about matchups to make in our matches to make video. That one's probably going to be like an hour long because there's been so much that happened in the month of June. But yeah, we did pretty good on picks this card. Let's count the record. 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 8-2, 9-2. Do we want to count this? I guess we'll say 9-3, 9-4. So 9-4, so pretty decent on picks. You could say 10-3 because I do think that the fight with what's it called? Almakhan and not Nascimento. Almakhan and Matsumuto, I think this was a robbery. So I'm going to say 10-3. Hey, we went 10-3 on picks this card. Good record for us. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just the main event that we keep getting wrong, but a pretty solid card. We had a lot of finishes on this one. Some solid scraps as well that went to decision. There we go. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. We got some great videos coming out this week for you guys. Lots of content. Yeah, and thank you so much, guys, for the support on live. We got 2.3 thousand views on live today. That's the most that we've ever gotten on this channel so far on a live stream. So thank you guys so much. All the way ×4. Like our previous best was the Chimaev and Strickland stream where we had like I think 700. So like ×4. Like multiply that by 4. That's what we got today on our live for just a fight night card in Azerbaijan that I was thinking about not even streaming for. So thank you guys so much for the support. We do this every weekend except for next weekend because there's not going to be a fight on the 4th of July. So we'll just drop some good videos for you guys. We'll drop some tier lists, maybe fights to make videos, some card builders. Yeah, there you go. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Follow my socials at the JJ MMA. I'll see you later, and until next time,